Bayo Atevi, as usual, is already in the house. Good morning, Bayo.
Thank you, Nadawo. Good morning.
Good morning,
Kingsley.
Well, Bayo, good to see you. Hope you had a pleasant weekend.
Thank you, yes.
Okay, so let's begin by taking a look at the front page of the Punch newspaper from top to bottom. That's beginning with the stories above the nameplate. PENCOM reviews payments as some 65,000 deceased relatives claim 215.27 billion naira. That's on page 21. NIM, federal government insists on Wednesday deadline and diplomats registration. Bandits kill octogenarian and 14 others in Zamfara and Kaduna attacks. Envoys list, Buhari posts ex-ministers to the UK and Spain. And MNK goes to the US. That's on page 7. Late story is on coronavirus, and by the way, an earpiece beside the nameplate there, you see the graphic display of the numbers relating to coronavirus in Nigeria. We have already recorded over 110,000 cases, and unfortunately 1,435 persons have died. Worldwide, over 2 million now have died from 95, over 2 million persons have died worldwide from some 95 million confirmed cases. A late story comes with a kicker as a headline: storage facilities. Nigeria may waste 100,000 COVID-19 vaccine doses, as attributed to experts. And don't disregard experts' advice. NMA tells federal government as schools resume. You have details on page 2. Now, the photographs there on the front page from Guatemala, it says Honduran migrants, part of a caravan heading to the United States, were stopped in Guatemala, and that took place yesterday, Sunday. Kaduna gunmen ambush anti-bandits police vehicle. 4 killed, cop missing. That's page 38. On page 21, Senate kicks as Petroleum Ministry spends 98.4 million naira on flyers. APC sweeps 44 Kano chairmanship seats and councillorship slots.
Oh, well, thank you, Kingsley. Let's look at the Nation newspaper and see what they're in. Above the mast at the top, we have some 3 or so stories. Buni leaders for Pali on Kwara APC crisis. That's on page 4. And we have 2023 Akande to meet Southwest leaders on page 8. Details as such. Bandits kill 10 in Zamfara, abduct 17 in Niger. We get that on page 4. And then rising inflation may push CBN to hike rates. Get to the business pages of the Nation newspaper that's from pages 17 to 24. Get the details there. Below the mast, we have a story: importers scramble for dollar weakens naira. And then we get that on page 5. APC sweeps Kano Council elections on page 33, and Catholic priest killed in Mina. Get details on page 4. The main story here is on troops battle Islamic State to regain seized military base, and the rider is 4 riot policemen killed in an ambush on Birningwari-Funtua Highway. No Pentagon rider. The page of that, the story is that is going to go to on page 5. Down below it, you have the story from the US, just an addition to what the Punch carried. And no Pentagon military parade for Trump. Biden to revise policies with executive orders. That's going to be on page 5. And finally, at the bottom of the page, you have ex-ministers Kuye Kitubu dead. On page 7, Zulum approves 624 million naira for Borno students. And details of that story can be gotten on page 33. Bayo?
Thank you, Yusuf. Well, 2 stories dominate the papers today. One is about schools resumption, the other is about COVID-19. University of Ibadan are to resume today. University Senate last week revised the academic calendar, and in the situation, they cancelled the 2019-2020 academic session. And therefore, the Tribune reports that upon resumption today, activities will be geared towards wrapping up 2018-2019 academic session. They have up till 19th of February to do that. The next 5 weeks, that's the next 5 weeks, they will wrap up, and then the second semester will begin. That is for 2018. 2021 session will begin by Monday, February 22nd. In the University of Benin, the spokesperson for the university, Dr. Benedicta Hanire, says that any returning student who refuses to wear a face mask will not be allowed into the campus. One of the cardinal identification made by university is that they have also amended the calendar for the activities, but possession of Android and smartphone is advised because e-learning has become inevitable, and the first session for the university is to start on 1st of April. The second semester will be 5th of April. In Kaduna Polytechnics has announced resumption of academic activities for Monday. However, the Kaduna state government says schools within its jurisdiction must remain closed. At a press briefing, the permanent secretary for the Ministry of Education, Phoebe Ayi, says the ministry is monitoring the situation and will make a pronouncement in due course. However, it has extenuated Kaduna Polytechnic and the National Open University to open because they requested to be allowed to write their exams. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives is saying that schools are not ready and should not resume today. Chairman House Committee of the House of Representatives on Basic Education and Services, Professor Julius Ihombre, says in a statement, the planned resumption should be extended by another 3 months until proper measures are taken to tackle the spread of COVID-19. Talking about spread of COVID-19, we had 1,867 cases on Friday, 1,598 on Saturday, and yesterday, 1,444. So in those just 3 days, we had 4,909 cases. The Tribune also reports that we had a case of about, the total now we have is 110,389. COVID-19 variant number 250 I1 as it's identified is already reported in the United Kingdom and South Africa. A third variant is reported in Brazil, and United States, for instance, is already have 21.5 million vaccines that has been distributed. Only 6 million has been administered. In England, 3 million has been administered in a period of 5 weeks. India yesterday launched the beginning of what is described as the beginning of the end of coronavirus campaign. It has 2 vaccines, Covishield, which is a version of the AstraZeneca, and Covaxin, which is its own Bharat Biotech made in India. The Prime Minister says that they are to vaccinate 300 million people in 6 months. That is on the average 5 million every month. Their plan is to make sure that they kick coronavirus out of India. India has a population of 1.3 million. And the report on Punch...
Billion,
yes.
Billion, yeah.
The report on the Punch is talking about COVID-19 vaccines may go waste is because of the storage requirement of the biotech vaccine, which has to be stored at minus 70 degrees centigrade, Antarctic temperature. So what the experts are saying that unless we are able to comply with that storage requirement, the vaccines will be ineffective by the time they are subjected to very high temperature. From that indication, I think our surest bet would have been the AstraZeneca, the Oxford version, which can be stored at a refrigerator temperature.
That would have been better at least. We don't know anyway what the federal government or the Ministry of Health is up to. But given our own environment and our own climate and weather, I think the AstraZeneca could have been better. I don't know what the experts are looking at already. They might have gotten a through hindsight, which ones are going to come and making those negative projections anyway.
Already the 100,000 we are expecting before the end of this month is expected to be in the brand or that requires about minus 70. Don't also forget that during our polio vaccination period, we were storing polio vaccines at minus temperatures, very close to that 70. maybe not up to that 70.
Yeah, but you don't look at the number of doses. It cannot be as much as those ones, really, given the number that is coming into the country. And so I think that's why the experts are, raising those fears.
Yes, 40 million doses by middle of the year. That's by June.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there is a story on the conduct of the local government elections in Kano. And the front page story here has a headline, APC sweeps 44 Kano chairmanship seats and councillorship slots. What is interesting about this story is the fact that at least Kano is conducting local government elections and therefore having democratically elected local government administration in compliance with the provisions of Section 7 of the Constitution. But if you recall, during the last elections into the local governments, there were reports of underage voters who were present at the polling stations. And indeed, we had a conversation on it here on Good Morning Nigeria, inviting INEC. It is INEC's business to provide the voters register, but it's not INEC's business to conduct the election. Yeah. Now, there have also been reports in the social media over the weekend showing photographs of clearly under infants and children, queuing up and being attended to apparently by the election officers. Now, there's a situation room report that says, well, the presence of underage voters was noticed in maybe 2 polling stations or so, and the matter was quickly addressed. We do hope that the Kano state government would take this up. Now, who were those underage voters? Who sponsored them? If it was an attempt to manipulate the outcome of the elections, who were the sponsors? Professor Sheka, who is the chairman of the State Independent Electoral Commission, is a very hard-working gentleman. He was there last time when they had elections. He's also there this time. So in the aftermath of the elections, what were the attempts at infringing on the electoral rules? It's not sufficient that young persons or children or persons whose names shouldn't have been on the register came to the polling station and then they were sent away. Who procured them? And were any of them attended to? Because some of the photographs, I don't know whether you saw them over the weekend, some of them were being attended to at the polling stations. So the integrity of the elections is important. Now that they have been able to establish almost routinely the culture of democratically elected local governments, it must be certain that indeed those who actually come to vote, even though there was a low voter turnout in this election, are persons who were qualified to cast a ballot.
I think, Kisuli, the whole thing has been made simple, these days, looking at technology and what we have in order to get to the bottom of issues. I mean, trending on social media, which means you see them doing it, all right? And then the opposition parties are supposed to take up that and then get to the courts and head to the courts and then see how they can get that done. And once the rules can be followed, and once these ones can be substantiated, I think as appropriate measures can be taken. The problem with us is we normally take these things on, not so seriously. So much so that we don't really get the results out of it, but we keep complaining at the end of the day.
You see, social media can be a double-edged sword. Sometimes it can give you rightly, sometimes it can also give you the wrong lead. Don't be surprised if it is an old picture that they are circulating. But be that as it may, social media was used by the authorities in the US to trace individuals who violated invaded the capital. And they are picking them up one by one. So those who committed that offense, like Kingsley suggested, can be traced and can be tracked.
And the opposition too can do their own homework. Yes. At least in doing this, you must have your evidence and the rest of them to get that one done.
Now the editorial is about the concerns about ASU strike, which has been called off, and the NASU, SANU, and the technologies threatening, after 3 days of strike, to go on another strike. The editorial is cautioning that government needs to look into their demands, because one of the cross of their demand is that the way they will share the 40 billion that is supposed to go as earned academic allowance. But the editorial is saying that why are non-academic members of the university, are they entitled to earn academic allowance? And why is it that the last time they shared it, in 2018, when they got 23 billion, ASU got 18.4 billion, which was 89%, and left 11% for the rest of the union. This time around, they say it's going to be 75-25. And that is the crux of the matter that is leading to another possible strike. And NASU, SANU, and the technologists are threatening that it's not only ASU that can ground the university. They too can ground the university, and they are ready to do so.
That is really unfortunate, really. I think the federal government should take that up, and the Nigerians should also look into that and then see what should be done and get the schools opened. Many thanks, Bayo, for joining us this morning. We're just starting the week. Tomorrow is going to be another day.
Thank you.
Thank you.